Hi, this is Corncod 1 of Nationalist News and Notes. Today I'm going to do a review of Multipolarity by Konstantin von Hoffmeister, published by Arctos, London, 2025. It's a new book. Long before the term multipolarity started to become an accepted and relatively common term among political thinkers and international relations folk, I already held to at least some of its principles, at least as far as geopolitics is concerned. I had been profoundly influenced in the late 80s by the writings of Bill Kaufman on foreign policy. Kaufman himself was a kind of libertarian, but it was the paleoconservatives upholding Kaufman's defense of classic pre-1898 isolationism that piqued my attention. I thought it axiomatic that if the U.S. shifted its defense strategy to Pat Buchanan's concept of defending Mexico, Canada, and the northern littoral of South America from outside powers, that the combination of a nuclear umbrella and a largest navy would keep our country safe from any possible invasion. It was also obvious to me that the constant wars caused by our ambition to dominate the world would cease, and we would be free in America to address ourselves to much ignored domestic concerns rather than expending blood and treasure in fruitless overseas wars. I knew that such a foreign policy would eventually result in there being other poles of power in the world, but that never bothered me. It still doesn't. In his latest book, Konstantin von Hoffmeister, author of Esoteric Trumpism, examines the concept of multipolarity. Until quite recently, it was the USA and its Western European foot soldiers that dominated the world. But a number of factors have led to a decline in American power. The desperate attempt by the American elite and its deep state functionaries to try to hold on to world-dominating power by hook or by crook has brought the world closer to nuclear conflagration than even the Cuban Missile Crisis. Thankfully, Donald Trump, author of The Art of the Deal, with his willingness to make rational compromises, is back in the White House, but the danger remains. In a way quite similar to his book on Trumpism, von Hoffmeister examines the concept of multipolarity from a number of different perspectives. One is from the standpoint of the ethno-pluralism of Alain de Benoit, the leading light of the European New Right. The rather ruthless and amoral ideas of the late Zbigniew Brzezinski, the cultural relativism of Franz Boas, critics of the universalizing tendencies of liberalism, and many others. The author considers the viewpoints relating to multipolarity of Russian philosopher Alexander Dugin, who sees Western unipolarity as forcing its shallow materialism on the world. Von Hoffmeister sees a strong, independent America as essential, but with a strength and independence that doesn't take a domineering posture toward the whole world. The author sees much that is attractive in the archaeo-futurism of the late Julian Fay that could lead Europe back to the model of the old Holy Roman Empire. Von Hoffmeister sees the world less in terms of mere nations, but of giant civilizational empires that would include jurisdictions like an imagined Euro-Siberia that would stretch from Ireland to Vladivostok, and a united Pan-African Union that would dominate that continent. Along the way, he examines the thought of the late Daria Dugina, daughter of Alexander Dugin, who sadly was murdered by terrorists. He even sees some multipolar aspects in the thought of the great interwar Romanian nationalist Corneliu Codreanu. He sees BRICS as a way for countries all over the world to escape from Western economic dominance. This book is a great introduction to the wide variety of advocates of multipolarity on the world scene. The reader will be able to use this book as an introduction to the topic and will be pointed to a number of other multipolar thinkers for further study. Von Hoffmeister writes in an engaging, attractive, and eloquent style that's found in fewer and fewer non-fiction books these days. This is Corncod One of Nationalist News and Notes, signing off.